In this episode, I try to use Eve's gravity to get myself to Jool. Another HAB module makes its way to Kerbin Station, while Malfunctions try to scuttle my first interplanetary encounter. All of this and more is coming up right now. Hello! We are here with the Keriner 2, launched last episode and now just about to leave Kerbin's SOI on its way to Eve, and hopefully, we'll find out shortly, whether I can use that to redirect it on its way to Jool, except this isn't the Keriner 2. Full disclosure time, this is the Keriner 2B. Okay, let's backtrack on this a little bit. Shortly after completing the editing for last week's episode, I recognized that the Keriner 2, I did not upgrade the engine, and it had less than 2 minutes left of burn time on it thanks to Kerbalism. Yeah, that wasn't going to cut it at all, but thankfully, I had the Keriner 2B as a backup. I had built 2 of them. It was ready to go, so all I had to do was use Kerbal construction time to get into the editing of it, upgrade that engine, and, well, exactly 3 hours later, this one was ready to launch in its place. Now, the Keriner 2, the original one, is still on its way to Eve. I have modified its mission, but you know what? I'll get to that when I get to that. Right now, I want to see how does the Keriner 2B do with its original mission of getting a flyby of Eve that sets it on a course for Jool. Alright, so the first thing we want to do is get into our settings. And we're going to change, this is under, where we got here? Yes, patch conic limit. I want to up that. Let's go to 5 and see what that's like. And what that does is it adds on additional paths, except, whoops, resume game. There we go. So we should be able to see our trajectory once we've already passed Eve. And why are we not? Oh yes, it is. It's this purple one. So this is clearly not the trajectory that we want. We're going to need to try and see if we can boost this out. And what that means is coming around Eve, as close as you can to Eve on the prograde side of it, to try and get as much of a boost as you can, though it's kind of hard to tell which way is the prograde side because Eve is not near where we're going to encounter it when we get to it. So you got to play around which side's going to work and which side kicks you out. Eventually I ended up working that out, and this turns into obviously a fairly long and tedious process, so by no stretch of the imagination am I going to make you watch all of this. But while we're sort of watching me fiddle about, I do want to kind of point out this is actually a bit of a special episode, an anniversary episode, if you will. It was 1 year ago this week that I first started this campaign and started this series. Well, really now I guess it's 2 series. I keep doing it in parts that I originally called Unkerbal because of the unkerbal tech tree that I was using. Yeah, it was back then. I started with those crappy little sounding rockets. It's hard to believe that we're doing what we're doing right now. And I would certainly like to thank everyone who has been along for the ride. And the ride isn't anywhere near over yet. So my original plan with this was to come in like really close to Eve and try and make my inclination with Eve as close to 0 as I can. And then I began to realize, wait a second, no, the timing of this actually, once I saw that my one of the resulting equatorial ascending or descending nodes was pretty close to being encountering with Jool as it was, I was realizing, no, inclination wasn't that big a deal. So rather than fiddling about trying to get the inclination right and trying to get the periapsis exactly right, I got it kind of generally going out in the right direction, going out towards Jool. And then I added a prograde burn at Eve's periapsis with a second maneuver node. I know I'm going to have to do a burn here anyway, just to sort of just get that Jool encounter. Now I know one of the issues here is going to be getting the ejection angle right. It kind of is what it is. So I do have the ejection angle at Eve showing there. But with a little bit of playing around, there it is. There is my Jool encounter. Okay, so we're going to be able to get this to work. The next piece of this is to try and make that burn at Eve as low as I can get it. So basically what I'm doing here is just seeing what adjustments on this burn gets this prograde to be as low as it can be, and where this ends up relative to Eve is where it ends up. I'm not bothering thinking about it anymore. So for instance here, I'm just going to add a bit of prograde to this burn. So 0.1 on the prograde, tiny little adjustments. Then I got to snap this back to periapsis. And then I got to see, does decreasing the amount of this prograde burn bring me closer to Jool? And you can see that it is. So this is the burn I want to minimize. And so I'm just going to keep poking at this until, you know, and it's, yeah, it's I can describe this as tedious. I think that's fair. You know, this allows you to jump between nodes now too, down here in the bottom. Like you can go from node 1 to node 2, which is nice. Actually, I might just keep it on node 1 so that don't have that big thing in my way. But this from maneuver node evolved is clearly a lot more convenient. I couldn't even imagine doing this with the old pull bar maneuver nodes that the game used to, even with the stock interface with the new one we have here. I think I would. I don't think I'd do it. I think I would be driving myself crazy without things like this snap the periapsis button. You know, I think I'm fiddling with it entirely too much. I think I'm going to live with it. So how did I end up? So I'm getting in pretty close, within 10,000 kilometers of Jool. I mean, let's zoom in on Jool and see what that looks like. Like you can see, I'm just whipping. Oh, I got the let's turn off the magnetic fields. So we're whipping in here on Jool. We'll do obviously some sort of correction after we've encountered Eve, but I mean, I'm still just barely out of Kerbin's SOI, so I'm perfectly cool with that. Focus back on Eve again really quickly if I can. Yeah, focus on Eve. And what does our encounter with Eve now look like? Let's get rid of that node. There we go. So we're whipping in around Eve. We're coming about 800 kilometers away from Eve. And you know what? This is as good as I'm going to get it. And this burn here turned out to be, back on the second maneuver, about 1,200 meters per second. I don't know how that compares to my prediction. I'll put my prediction that I made a couple of episodes ago down here. And you can judge for yourself if I'm close to what I predicted or not. It's kind of Mickey. I don't know. It was a lot of fiddling, but I don't know. I'm pretty happy with this. So we're just barely out of Kerbin's SOI. You can just see the ship here. We're coming around, doing a little correction here. How much is this correction? This correction is, all told, where does it say the whole thing? It's saying the normal, the radial, and the duber. Oh wait, it's going to be here though. That correction is 38 meters per second here. That is tweaking our encounter with Eve a little bit. Over there we're making a 1,200 meter per second burn on top of Eve. That's flying us out towards Jool. And then we'll see what we can do when we get to Jool. We're getting to Jool in 2 years, 236.9 days. So that isn't going to happen for a long, long time. Let's get ourselves back to the Space Center. And the main thing I'm concerned about here, I mean, we're going to be doing a lot of time warping, getting to these burns. This episode we're going to get to our Duna probes encountering Duna in 101 days. But if I'm going to be doing all of that time warping, my only Kerbals in space are in Kerbin Station, and I really do need to pay attention to them. Like, again, even despite the oxygen supply I sent up to them last episode, they still only have about 54 days of oxygen aboard. So we need to rectify that situation. And we are off with another HAB module on its way to Kerbin Station. This is actually the exact same booster that you saw bring up my previous HAB module. But I have changed around the fairing a little bit. Before I had one big ginormous fairing covering the entire thing, and then realized that was extra weight that I didn't really need. So now I have a lower fairing here that's just closing off on the hitchhiker cans, and then an upper fairing attached to the bottom side of that nose cone that's upside down and covers up the top to make the top a little aerodynamic. And you can see the separatrons on the nose cone, which are going to fire off. And actually, the main thing I've got, well, there's a number of main things. Number one is oxygen. I put on oxygen. We now have 16,187 units of oxygen. That's going to more than triple the amount of oxygen aboard, so that will be awesome. There we go. Again, a nice sort of choreographed pirouette. I don't want to put separatrons on that because I like that so much. The other thing, well, you know what? We'll talk about the other things when we get a better look at this once the fairings are gone. And there we go. Fairing separation. So what else do we have locked into here? Lots of little surprises. Okay, down here I have a Mark I landing can. This is the single person landing can, and the purpose of this landing can is to act as an airlock. There is an actual expandable airlock that is in the stock game. Actually, I think it comes with the Making History DLC, to be quite honest, but either way, I don't have it unlocked yet. So instead, I have this single crewed command module, the landing can, that's going to act as an airlock, and I'm hoping that that's for Kerbals to EVA in and out of, and hopefully that will save me a lot of nitrogen, as I don't have to repressurize an entire hitchhiker can anymore. I'm hoping it'll work anyway. What else do we got in here? Well, if I take a look at this one, they now have a TV. We've given them a TV. It is now running, showing its signal to everybody aboard, to nobody that's on there right now. But that should add to their comfort and reduce their stress level. And I also have a brand new experiment called the Flight Experiment. The Flight Experiment does require you to be in orbit. I think you can do it in high and in low space. You requires 3 Kerbals in order for it to run. Hoping I'm not missing any other factoids on that. But it collects science over a very long period of time. So once this is attached, it will have 3 Kerbals to run the experiment. It will be in low space, and I'll figure out some way on a different vessel to do the flight experiment in high space. But overall, well, we have reached our target apoapsis, so far so good. Overall, this is pretty much the exact same vehicle. The tug is exactly the same. The lifter is pretty much exactly the same. The only change I made was the way in which the fairing was set up. The one thing I didn't do is I didn't put RCS thrusters on up here. So we only have RCS thrusters on the tug, no RCS thrusters up here, because every time I brought up a module, I have removed the RCS thrusters from the module once it was attached to the station. And I'm noticing only one of these struts is actually connected. Oh well, hopefully that'll be okay. What was I saying? Oh yeah, we move and keep them on the station. So I now have, I think, 12 these RCS thruster blocks on the station. So what I'll do is I'll send out an engineer to attach some RCS thruster blocks on here before we do the docking. Now, one thing I'm just beginning to realize here. The Palm 1B is docked right where I want to put this module. So we're going to have to go out, we're going to have to move the Palm 1B. We also need to get Kerber aboard, or Kerber to EVA and attach on those RCS blocks. I'm not 100% sure where these should go to balance off, but I don't know. I'm just going to put them around here. I'm going to put them about here-ish. 1, 3 to go. Kerber's like, I'm just putting these on, and like once this is all on, we're just gonna remove these again. I'm like, yep, we gotta keep our station looking clean. Come on. Are we on? Oh, a bit of a hard hit. Ah, we're there. Alright, that's pretty good. Looking good. Yep. Okay, we'll shut down this engine. And we'll start strutting this thing up like we did with the other one. Oh, is the flight experiment running? That's what I want to look at. The flight experiment is running, and you can see here, it's not a lot of science, really, is it? It's 9 science over 14 days. But, you know, it's going to be doing it for nothing. We also have our TV going. I'm pretty happy with this. I'm going to leave the tug attached to it. That tug could prove itself useful. As a docking port on the one end, it might be a useful thing to kind of shove stuff around. So I think I'll leave it down there. But otherwise, what are we... How are we doing for resources now? So we have perpetual water. That's nice. So our water reclamation is obviously working very, very well. We have 195 days of oxygen and 245 days of food. But they should be happy here for a while I get on to my Duna stuff. But before we can get to Duna, well, we've been playing around with the Keriner 2. This is the Keriner 1 getting set for its first correction burn. And what we got here is a burn. This is the one I set. The idea was for it to go flying by Eve, which it's set to do. And then the plan was for it to then go on to Moho in much the same way as the Keriner 2 is hopefully going to be going out to Jool, except that I messed up the orbital insertion way back in Kerbin, and the timing of this isn't all right. So what I'm going to do, the plan is to simply put it in an orbit where the apoapsis of the resulting orbit, or no, it'll be the periapsis of the resulting orbit, sorry, will be intersecting more or less with Moho's orbit, and then once we've gone by Eve, hopefully we can tweak our things and get ourselves a Moho Encounter 2. But first, we got to do our Eve burn. Now this is only a 67 meter per second burn. So we're gonna buzz really close to Eve, just above the atmosphere. I kind of do like that, and no need for any kind of correction at Eve. This'll do the whole thing as long as this all goes right. And unlike the Keriner 2, I did remember to upgrade this engine. So this engine still has 20 minutes of burn time left and 40 ignitions left, so plenty. And we're just gonna watch it from here. Should be seeing. Here it comes. It's coming from way below. Like I said, my ejection from Kerbin left a little bit to be desired because of my messed up parking orbit. But, whew, that looks nice. How's that look like from out here? Here, we can get rid of this. So this purple orbit is the resulting orbit. No, I'm coming in. Oh my god, I'm so confused. Yeah, that's my encounter. Then I'm going to get this purple orbit, and that looks like pretty much what I want. So we're going to get our Eve encounter in, how long's our Eve encounter away? 137, 138 days. I'm perfectly cool with that. That will be coming clearly well after our Duna probes. Well, with nothing else going, let's get out there. We got some malfunctions here. How do we look at failures? That's what I want to look at. Oh! Oh, that's not good. Okay, so it's obviously the front one. This is really 2 probes here. One here, and then a transfer vehicle. And the reaction wheels on this probe are kaput. And they can be repaired. Like there's a repairman nearby. Okay. Shoot. Okay. And the engine? That's an ant. That doesn't... Does that... I don't... Does it have gimbling? I don't... It doesn't say it has gimbling. I think... No, isn't it? I think it's the spider that has the gimbling. Okay, well, we'll have to figure that out. So this probe is meant to go around Ike, and this one eventually will end up in a polar orbit about Duna. That's the idea. But we're 80 days away from having to worry about what we're going to do about all this, so I guess we'll just time warp that away. Yeah, let's do this. Okay. Dum dum. One thing I do want to watch is Kerbin Station. That is the only place I've got Kerbals. This is slowly transmitting away some science because of the experiment that they're doing. You know, I'm going to have to end up rotating them out of there because, like, they're at 14. They're getting radiation there. Even though they're below the belts, there's still some radiation that gets through. You know, I do have a fair amount of probes. Like, if I put this on. A fair amount of interplanetary probes now. Some of which are simply actually... like the Mimbus 1B and Moonart 1 are just ones that have escaped the Kerbin system and really aren't doing anything. In fact, I don't even have communications with those. Alright, we are here. Should be able to see. There it is. There's Duna. Oh, our signal is now down to 20%. I knew these antennas were going to be sketchy. Oh, wait a second. I got two more for now because there's two probes here. See how this helps. Let's extend that one. There it goes. And extend this one. And what is our signal at? Oh, 43% now. Maybe I should have just put a lot more of these antennas on, but it's what it is. It should be okay. Let's see. I want to get to here. Let's turn some stuff. Oh yeah, everything's turned off right now, so won't be doing an atmospheric scan for a bit. But we can get ready to do a radiation scan, the light experiment, a telemetry report, and a temperature scan, and that is going to be it. Now, that is going to leave, yeah, once we start, those are waiting now, but they're going to, once we enter into Duna's sphere of influence, here, we can get rid of alarm clock, they're going to start using a lot of electricity, so that's why I got these extra solar panels. So let's extend. I don't think I need all of these antennas because I think I built this so that each of them could do their own oh, we have a broken antenna too. Okay, so we'll see what we got. Let's point. They'll spin this around. There we go. And we'll aim this at the sun. Hopefully that will give us some good electrical exposure. I love this part here on Kerbalism. Whoa, slow down. But see how it tells you what the average exposure is of your antennas. So that's pretty useful. Oh, I think we just switched, didn't we? We are now in Duna's SOI. Yes, we are. So this is our first craft to be approaching another planet. Kind of exciting. Okay, let's take a look at our trajectory here. We should be collecting science now. Oh, and we are. All kinds of science. Okay, so we'll let that stuff all go. Nice. We are coming in here. Okay, 42 kilometers. That's a little bit high. So let's push this out a little bit. I don't want to go, or a little bit low, I'm sorry. It is in the atmosphere. And actually, you can go through the and I think I will go through the atmosphere, but not on this capture. And that's good. Actually, if anything, that was probably a little, we'll let it go. It's alright. I mean, technically, you can do some aero braking around Duna, but it really isn't very beneficial. And besides, like, we have all kinds of solar panels, and we can't retract them. So, no, I think that would be a bad idea. Okay, let's set up our capture. Now, what I want to do with this capture, Obviously put a burn here at periapsis. But I want to leave myself, and it's nice, we're coming in reasonably close to equatorial. Sometimes you can get a gravity assist from Ike. I mean, Ike is huge in comparison to Duna, and it's very close to Duna too. But it's all about whether you can hit it or not, and I couldn't get it. So we're just gonna capture the old-fashioned way just directly here. Oh, a little bit more. And I want to leave my apoapsis up so that we can get a good shot at getting a Ike Encounter after this, because that's sort of the plan. We're going to do this, we're going to get an Ike Encounter, we're going to drop that satellite around Ike, and then we're going to put our other satellite in orbit about Duna so they can all collect their science-y goodness. That's about it. So 394 meters per second. There's still 684 meters per second left in this stage. In the meantime, oh, we got some milestones. You have initiated your first flyby of Duna. You've escaped the gravitational influence of the sun. I always hate this one because, like, clearly, really, kind of, we haven't, but, well, we'll let it go. Okay. Let's take a look at the data piece, and we'll watch this transmit away while we fall. We got 2 days to transmit all this stuff. Oh, there it goes. Nice. All this science. Lots and lots of science. That's it. It's done. Awesome. Okay, and we should also be getting into some low science here at some point, too. Jeez, I'm going to have to figure out what to do with this probe when I release it, because I don't think I have attitude control. Well, if I release it and it just becomes a flyby, I guess that's just what it is. Nope, that's low space. We're starting to collect, again, all kinds of science. Oh yeah, that's right. Duna has a magnetosphere. Oh, I think that's it. Yep, there's that. Lumpy, crappy. Am I going to go into it? I really don't think I am. I'm noticing it's extending a little bit here on the kind of down solar wind side of it, which makes sense. I guess this is meant to model Mars's crappy, irregular, virtually ineffectual magnetic field. That's cute. Okay, let's turn that off. We'll have to make sure to put myself into an orbit that I can get to this bit here sometime, but one thing at a time. Okay, how close are we? We're still good for electricity. I should check. Oh yeah, got it pinned even though we're all just overly paranoid with the electricity. My maneuver executing script, of course, is handling the burn. Seems to be doing a good job. There goes our capture. And how did this turn out here? Yeah, I'm perfectly happy with that. It almost looks like we're hitting Duna, but of course Duna's moving, so that ain't gonna hit. But next step in all this, well, is to transmit this away, but also to start thinking about our Duna encounter here. Now, what I'm going to do, because we're probably going to have to ride around here for a little bit, which is fine. But if I take this, and I just give myself, just, I don't know, like a little bit of retrograde, that's it. But then what I can do is pop ahead in orbit. So go to the next orbit, and then go to the next orbit, and there I'm starting to get a Duna encounter. So I'm going to go around a couple of times. It's looking like it's 4 days from now. And what I'd really like to have, let's get rid of this for now. I keep saying a Duna Ike Encounter, of course. What I really would like to do is use Ike to affect my trajectory and put myself into a more inclined trajectory around Duna. So this is going to take a bit of playing. There we go. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. I'm coming back and hitting Ike again. But then what I need to do... Let's see. Maybe a little more out? No. Now I'm missing Ike Encounter. Okay, I'm going to do this burn here. That's what I'm going to do. And then I hopefully can tweak this a little bit and work on this. But that will have to be at the time. In the meantime, well, that burns 4 days away. I can just let this ride around. Collect and transmit away the science. And that is it. We've transmitted away all that. How much science? We now have 195 science. Nice. Oh, we're coming to our burn. Yep, this is the one. 3, 2, 1. Tiny little adjustment. Oh, I've forgotten entirely. Okay, that's complete. Close this. I have some contracts here, but let's... Okay, we got our Ike Encounter. That looks pretty good. I do have contracts, but you know what? I should probably see if I can tweak this encounter first. So right now I'm getting this purple orbit. What I want is something that's... The periapsis is kind of near where we are right now, but I want it more inclined. So what that means... let's try normally upwards. I think it's flaking in and out of an encounter. What's that periapsis at? I'm gonna... That's okay. You know, I think... Well, I don't know. Let's... Is it still far away? Okay. Let's give it a little more normal. Whoa. You can see now, I don't want that periapsis into the atmosphere. You know what? I think I'm just going to leave it. I think that's pretty good. All right, let's take a look at our contracts while we're on our way here. So, geez, it was so long ago I set this up. I completely sort of forgotten there is some contracts. So our first one here is Duna and Ike. So we have to collect any science from Duna's low space. We've done that. That's gone green. We have to... Oh, flying high. This is the bit we have to dip into the atmosphere and get some science out of the atmosphere. We'll do that a little later. I didn't want to do that while I was... Yeah, I'll do it later. And... I want to... What do I got here? Actually, what I can do... I know what I'm going to do. Oh, and this is getting in low space of Ike. Okay, so that's one of them. And then this other one is to do an altimetry scan of Duna. I have a very specific orbit to hit, and that's going to be the last one we're going to do. When we're all done, we'll put that bottom probe in this orbit, and it'll do the altimetry. It has the altimetry scanner. I didn't put an altimetry scanner on the one around Ike because I have no idea what kind of orbit this is going to end up in. It doesn't have a ton of delta V in it. I'm a little annoyed and concerned about that probe body. The reaction wheels aren't working. I could have upped the reliability on these probe cores, and I didn't. And I'm not sure with the Keriners whether I did or whether I didn't either. It's a little late now. I just got to do that. You know, when you're sending these probes out on these long distance voyages, I think you really do need to send it with the best equipment you can send it with. I hate this kind of glitchy stuff you get. Must be just barely going into Ike's SOI. Oh, I don't have a signal anymore. And I can't delete the maneuver node. Because I don't have a signal. I think actually KOS finished off that burn for me without a signal. Thank you, KOS. What would I do without you? Alright, there we go. Now. What I want to do is drop that Ike probe. Oh, I'm going to be collecting science. I just realized that too. We're going to be collecting science about Ike now and transmitting that. Is our electricity still okay? Our electricity is fine, so that is good. But what I want to do is get a capture around Ike. But my challenge is that I think, no, I know I have no attitude control on this probe, but I want this probe to keep going. So here's what my cunning plan is if I control from here, let's control from this one. And what we'll do is we'll set up a capture, and I will orient the vessel with this guy and onto a retrograde, obviously, and then detach just before we get to the node, and then hopefully I can just burn and get... If I get my capture, I'll be happy, honestly. I really don't care about much else. Ooh, once we separate these two, our signal strength is going to drop. I think KOS would be a bad idea. Because I don't know how it's going to behave when I separate these and stuff. Stage. Activate this engine. Now I have no more... I've lost my node. I've lost my node. Okay, I got time to periapsis. Oh, the maneuver got attached to this one. That's okay. I got my time to periapsis. I can't adjust it anyway, so I'm just going to end up burning. I have 181 meters per second in this vehicle. I had no idea. I don't remember what that maneuver was. Hopefully there's no kind of imbalance in this, because the reaction wheels don't work. Nothing works. So if it starts to drift, I'm in trouble. Let's just start going. No, it's holding it. Okay, whoa. I was pushing my periapsis away. This did not move at all during that. That makes me excited. Okay, I don't need to worry about... I think this is going to work. I think this is... Oh, unless I don't have enough fuel, which is entirely possible. I'll just let it get close. I'm getting too fiddly. Oh, and you don't know how many... Watch your ignitions here, dipsh. Silly boy. I'm good. Okay, just burn for God's sakes. Just do it. Okay, watching periapsis. 300 kilometers on the periapsis. A 100 kilometers on periapsis. I'm gonna cut it around a little more, around 30-ish. Awesome, awesome, awesome! I'm so excited. So that'll be low space. That'll be high space. Are the experiments running on this thing? That's a very good question, because I don't know which probe I actually had the experiments running on. So we'll turn on the radiation scan. Oh, it's waiting. Oh, I guess it's already, yeah, done. Oh, yeah, because that's just a global thing. Telemetry report, temperature. I guess it's already done it all, so it's just got to get itself into low space. That should be so awesome, awesome, awesome. Oh, this. Oh, how did I get already while in low space? I'm not in low space. It says collect science, any experiment while in low space on Ike, but this is clearly not low space, so I don't know. But I'll get it, because I think I am going to get low space on it. Okay, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Don't care. What I can't orient this anyway. I was about to say I should orient the solar panel so they're getting some nice exposure. According to this, they're like 82.7% exposure, so you know what? That's fine. I'm more than happy with that. Okay, you can keep orbiting Ike to your heart's content. But we have to get ourselves back to the main probe because it still has work to do. And we're going to end up in this orbit, which looks perfectly fine to me. Well, not perfectly fine, but for now. I'm happy with that. I am very happy with that. Okay, let's get away. Bye-bye, Ike. We left you a friend. The rest of us is on our way out of here. I think I'm transmitting much more slowly now too, which is, yeah, because I think the transmission speed is connected to the signal strength, My signal strength is abysmal. So what I want to do is just dip this ever so slightly into the atmosphere. No maneuver node. Just gonna burn just nice and slowly in a retrograde direction. Atmosphere is 50 kilometers. 48.3. I think that should be fine. You can actually, like, if you put on trajectories here, you can see how little the atmosphere of Duna is going to affect our trajectory. So we're not going to be running into much of any resistance. We don't have to worry about solar panels or anything like that. So it looks like we've definitely gotten all the near space science we have. So now it's just about getting a little bit of atmospheric science. I do have 12% of the hard drive capacity still there. Okay, we are now in the atmosphere. We are collecting some science. And we have filled up our hard drive. It doesn't matter. This requirement is simply to transmit some science from the high atmosphere, which we've collected some. Eventually this will end up getting transmitted. And yeah, it should be fine. Okay. Let's just get ourselves out of the atmosphere. We've got some more messages. Some milestones again. We have entered orbit of Ike. We have escaped the gravitational influence of Ike. We have entered into a suborbital flight above Duna. And we have entered into atmospheric flight above Duna. Awesome. And then a contract requirement to get the low space around Ike. Nice. Okay, so we just have to transmit that... some of this high atmosphere science we just got. Yes, flying high science. There's a temperature scan. There's a telemetry report. There must be an atmospheric scan in there somewhere. We're not going to do that again. I know it's hardly any science. I don't care. Okay. We're out of the atmosphere. Now it's time to get this into an orbit that is more like what I need it to be. Oh, I'm so excited. We are closing in on this. And things seem to be going well. A little nervous. 2, 1, and go. So again, we're looking at an inclination around 84.1 and a periapsis in around 379. I can see I just got my communication with Ike 1 back. 37. Oh, I am ecstatic with that. Static. These two are in the green. Okay, that's good. That's good. That's good. Let's close that. And all we got to do is circularize this at periapsis, and that should be our mapping orbit. Run circ at periapsis. All right, that looks good to me. Now I can see here that there's not enough juice in the can in this one left. It's a 171 meters per second burn. There's 83 meters per second left in that, but I still got this probe on top with its own engine, so that really shouldn't be an issue. But I can't stage no, what I think I'll do is I'll get down there and I'm just gonna burn manually until this stage runs dry, and I'm not gonna stage because we'll just go around again. There's no urgency to it. And then we'll fix it on the flip side, right? The next time around. That's all we got to do. As long as I don't end up getting clonked by Ike. The wrecking ball of space. Oh, no, we're burning. No, this will be great. Because this will lower our apoapsis too. We should be well inside of Ike. And punch it. We are out of fuel. Get rid of that. Alright, so next what we need to do is, this is dead. Oh yeah, this is interesting. We need to wiggle this out of here. And this is why I haven't been deploying all these solar panels, because I knew this was kind of coming. Okay, so hopefully, hopefully I've turned down the decoupling force on that decoupler quite significantly. And this has no brains to it. This will be a dead object once I decouple, so I won't be able to manipulate this, but hopefully I can get... Okay, let's see, so decouple. There's a lot of noise, but I think it's okay. I think we're good. We should be free in here, so... Like this? Yeah. Can we wiggle our way out of here? That'd be super. Oh, we are... What if I... There, I nudged myself out. Here, just watch out for the antenna. Ooh, ah. I nudged myself out with the... Other way. I'm going so slow I probably won't hurt the solar panels, but there's no... And I can't retract these solar panels, by the way, but... I think we're large. We're clear. We're clear. We're fine. All right. And we're still, yeah, this thing is doing a good job with electricity. I'm not really having issues. Nice. Okay. Okay, we're clear. That's good. That's good. That's good. And let's activate this. And oh, whoa! I just noticed my thrust was full. It's turned that off. Activate that engine. We have 679 meters per second still left in this thing. That's gonna be plenty. Okay, so we just gotta ride this around one more time. Transfer vehicle, you did us good, but we are chucking you away to forever be debris. Floating about. Duna, how is our data here doing? Oh my god, we still have a ton of it. Well, eventually. Their signal strength is so crappy. Okay. Waiting on... We just need these orbital parameters here to go green, and then we gotta scan 50% of the surface. Oh, they also want us to do Ike. I'm just noticing that. Shoot, Ike is part of the deal. Okay. You know what? We could maybe potentially finagle. We still have 591 meters per second left in here. We might be able to get this to Ike, but one thing at a time. Okay, that's all green. So that is good. Alright, and then what we're going to do... Because this really does seem to be... I'm going to extend all these antennas. Because this thing takes a lot of electricity. I think it's really going to need it. Extend and extend. And then what we're also going to do... I'm not sure what's up with this, so let's just turn all these on, let them start transmitting. But our hard drive is very, very full. So... I'm going to get into the automation feature, and we're going to take a look at the SCANsat altimetry scan. No, let's go to and change this to when the hard drive, power low, power high, sunlight, shadow, unlinked, linked, drive is full. We're going to turn this SCANsat off. And when the drive is empty, we're going to turn this on. And by empty, it means that there's got 85% space left. So it's not going to turn this on until it gets to 85% free on the hard drive, which is going to take a little while. This probably should just go on and go off again. Just want to make sure it's ready to go. Is it going to go off again? Gonna be that way? I thought the automation would make... Oh, maybe it's when you cross the boundary. Yeah, let's turn this off. Yeah. Okay, we'll leave it. It's off now. Let's aim this at the sun. Where's Mr. Sun? Mr. Sun. Sun. There we are. And we will aim you at the sun. We want to get nice solar exposure. That looks pretty happy to me. This thing should start doing the scanning. We'll take a look at, once it's done its job around Duna, see if we can get it over to Ike. I don't think that is out of the question. But in the meantime, I'm going to thank you for watching and hope to see you again next time.